Hey there, everybody. This is Pastor Rick, Broadman Baptist Church, Chicago Falls, Ohio, and this is the Broadman Word for Friday, July 11th, 2025. And today is called The Invitation. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at something from Psalms and explore just a little bit, briefly, obviously, because that's what we do here on the Broadman Word. We're going to explore the concept of the invitation. And so let me just read for you Psalm 68, verse 6. And here we go. It says, God sets the lonely in families. He heads out the prisoners with singing, but the rebellious live in a sun-scorched land. So God then opens up his family, his kingdom, even to prisoners, and leads them out in singing. In God's kingdom, we are to be as open and welcoming as we can according to scriptural values. Obviously, we don't condone or do anything that's not allowed by Scripture, and even God-directed things is where we keep our focus. But in Galatians 4:5, it has come to our attention through the writings of the Apostle Paul that we have been adopted into God's family. And way back in Psalms, the psalmist says that God will set people into families, even the lonely, which was never a good thing, but it's a very serious thing temporally, which fancy word meaning if you take a look at the time this was written, being out on your own and lonely was not just not good, it was dangerous, life-threatening. You needed a family and friends back then to be able to just to make it through the basic day. And so God sets the lonely into families, and he will even lead the prisoners out with singing, according to the psalmist. And so that then imparts on us a responsibility from as far back as Psalms and other places in the Old Testament to Galatians 4:5, where we hear that we are adopted into God's family. We are in sonship with him. We are heirs to the kingdom of heaven. We are then required to have the invitation, the open invitation to all. 2 Corinthians 5:20 tells us that we are required to have an invitation ready for everybody, and we should be people who are inviting people. We generally should be an open invitation to exploring Christ's love, an open invitation to becoming part of God's family, to share the hope of heaven with folks, to be the walking examples of the completed work of Christ, the redemptive work of Christ on the cross that should shine through in us to others who then would want what we have and come curious to us, where we could then share the invitation to accept the gospel of Jesus Christ. We don't have the worry of running out of any resources or church becoming too crowded. We would just build bigger buildings, and of course the kingdom of heaven is big enough for everyone. So listen, brothers and sisters, as you're going out about your day and you're making general plans for life, be aware of the situations that you're in, and be aware that God has got you there as his representative to help him set the lonely into families, to lead the prisoners out with singing, and to not have any rebellious people who would be forced to live in a sun-scorched land on their own without the provision of God. I hope you have a marvelous day in the Lord. I'll talk to you next time.